unless you fix your relationship with money, the money in your relationship can cause a lot of chaos. Money has no gender. So why do we assign it a gender?
Absolutely.
There is a lot of information about what you can do with your money, how you should spend your money, but there is very little happening on dealing with the emotional side.
60% of couples, including me, every single week, a financial expenses dispute. Why is it so difficult to talk about money?
You know, it's very interesting you bring this up because
Lisa Pallavi Barbora is an author and financial coach with over 2 decades of experience in personal finance. Her recent book, Money and Her, explores women's relationship with money. Today, she joins us to talk about how financial behavior shape relationships and why transparency and communication are the key to financial harmony.
I was reading an interview of Akshay Kumar and he mentioned that, how Twinkle Khanna, before getting married, asked about his medical history. Today's day and age, how important that the couple becomes financially compatible before getting married.
it happens all the time. People get married for love. They don't realize what's on the other side of it.
Now, if you could rewrite the money rule book for modern couples, which you wish the couples should follow for the financial harmony, relationship with your money, and then there is money in your relationship. How does money impact a relationship, Lisa, both emotionally and practically?
So, as you said, money has a practical side and an emotional side. And the practical side is easier to understand because you can see it, it's visible, right? You're spending, you're investing, etc. The emotional side often doesn't get spoken about. And that's where things start to get complicated in your relationship with money and in, what did you say? Money in your relationship, in both aspects. So what happens is that if there are two individuals who are in a relationship and who are very aware and acknowledge what their relationship with money is, and that is extremely rare, nobody knows this, then it's a great fit, right? Because look, I'm a spendthrift and that can hurt my family. So they reach out to the spouse or the partner or whatever it is, and they can say that, can you check me? Can you be my accountability partner, so to speak, and check me? Or you may be aware that you are very good at investing, and then you can say, look, I think I can do this better than you. Why don't I take this up? But these are extremely rare situations. It doesn't happen. So that's where things start to get complicated. We all know the practical side. There is a lot of information about what you can do with your money, how you should spend your money, right from credit cards to mutual funds. You can find a lot of practical advice. There is very little happening on dealing with the emotional side. And unless you fix your relationship with money, the money in your relationship can cause a lot of chaos. So you have to be careful.
And the numbers say that same story too, because research says that about 35% of couples cite stress with the money disputes. They say that about 60% of couples, including me, we often have every single week a financial expenses dispute. And it is the most ordinary thing in the world, something which is we deal with every day, money. Why is it so difficult to talk about money?
I think it's the conditioning, really. We don't grow up talking about money. And this is what we call a belief system, right? We are all guided by our belief system across various things when it comes to things like faith, religion. That's where we think, okay, beliefs. But there are money beliefs also. And these are very subtle. नहीं पूछते किसी से कितना कॉस्ट करता है. It's not good. Talking about money, talking about your salary, asking somebody their salary. I mean, I'm saying this and you must be thinking, oh my God, that's so, it doesn't even sound right.
Yeah.
So you will talk about, stock markets, you will talk about how much things cost, but your own personal money, you will not talk about. Our belief systems start when we are really young children. And if you're not exposing your children to what money means and the value of money consciously, they're not going to pick up anything which is positive around money. Nobody talks about it. That means even I don't talk about it, right?
You rightly put that money impacts everything, including the most beautiful thing in the world, which is love. Now the studies says that, research shows about 22% divorces. The major reason is financial dispute. What makes money such an emotional trigger for separation, Lisa?
When you realize that it's not money per se, but I'll go back to the emotion side of it. It's the insecurity. So if money has not been discussed, at some stage you realize that, look, this is important, and it feeds into the insecurity, and it feeds more and it feeds more. If you're not going to communicate about it, there is you're not going to get the answers that you're seeking, and then the insecurity just grows. Now, flip that around and think that if from the very beginning these insecurities were addressed, there was complete communication, transparency, then maybe the divorce may still happen, right?
And
but money won't be in the middle of it.
I also see it doesn't matter how many years of marriage.
Yeah, of course.
It could be like many years later you realized, oh, maybe this was the reason that was for all the quarrels.
So that's why it's important to start at the beginning with clear communication and not have this idea that, money is a gender role. I think we all begin from that. With my book, In Money and Her, I try to address this, that money has no gender, right? So why do we assign it a gender?
Absolutely. I was reading an interview of Akshay Kumar, and he mentioned that, how Twinkle Khanna, before getting married, asked about his medical history, not about his birth chart or the horoscopes. And then he mentioned that, how it was that important for her. And I think in today's day and age, seeing the rise in divorces and separations because of the financial disputes, how important that the couple becomes financially compatible before getting married.
It's very interesting you bring this up, because recently there was a story in the newspapers about this in a small town in Maharashtra itself. I forget the name of the town, but it's a small town in Maharashtra, and there's this family where it's a typical arranged marriage situation where they're meeting the groom, and the girl's uncle, after they've met the groom, and I think whatever, they must have liked the groom, but he went back and he checked in, I don't know how, maybe he was working in the bank or whatever, checked in on his CIBIL score, realized he has a very poor score, and they rejected him for his niece.
But is it really necessary to disclose every single rupee, or financial privacy is healthy? Or what should be the boundaries?
So financial privacy is very healthy, and it is not necessary to disclose every single rupee, but you have to disclose what is material, right? And having loans and servicing debt even before you've begun your family life is a material information for the person you're getting married to, because you are joining your lives and you're joining your finances. That is material.
What things is comfortable to disclose, and what is fine if you're not disclosing in a relationship, in a marriage couple?
So again, when we're talking about this is sounding very like a plan, marriage is often not planned like that. So just try and get a sense of it. It's not a question you can ask them. Spend time with them and try and... There shouldn't be a hesitation to share. If the person is, say, supporting another household, a lot of people support sometimes their siblings' education, or if you're supporting your parents, these are things which, if you know before you're getting married, none of this is a deal breaker. None of it. It's just about building that trust, building that communication, building that sharing. You can't, you can't write down, acha, ye question puchna hai ya wo question puchna hai. You have to go with the flow, but not ever discussing money or avoiding that topic completely. I think that is a red flag.
Now, many institutions like One Finance also talk about understanding the unique financial personality. There's something called money sign on their website where people can check which money sign they belong to, which again is shaped by the inherent nature and the life experiences. But when in a marriage, two people from different financial personalities meet, conflicts happen?
I can only give you an example from my own personal experience. I'm not a risk taker, okay? I'm extremely conservative, and I'm extremely worried that anything can happen tomorrow. And we need to have any
High five
extra
on that,
money.
by the way.
Okay, you like that as well. So I keep thinking we need to have more in our emergency fund, more in our emergency. And my husband is the opposite, right? And he's like, why? Why can't we just invest everything? Why can't? I said, but you can't. You have to be practical. And we actually walk and we keep talking about, and every time that there's a lump sum, it's like, okay, what do we do with it? And I'm like, let's just increase our emergency fund. And he's like, you're obsessed with increasing. Why do you need it? And then he'll talk me through it, right? Look, we have insurance for this. We have some money kept aside if something happens here. We have EPF, whatever. He'll make me go through all these things. And he'll say, now tell me, what is the emergency that is going to happen that can't be covered with all of this? And then I'm like, no, anything can happen. Now, that anything can happen, I later realized, after a financial therapy session, comes from my childhood, comes from experiences that I've seen relatives go through.
The financial trauma.
And that financial trauma is translating to my attitude with money. This is what I said, the belief system.
Absolutely.
It was not vocal. It was just something that I had seen and observed. And the impact of that financial trauma for the relatives who went through it is still there. For me, it has translated into me being anything can happen. And I can't even specify that anything. So when he asks me repeatedly, what is this anything? I can't define it. But it has come from somewhere, right? So when I realized this, that it has come from somewhere, I immediately spoke to him. I said, look, you keep asking me, that is my reality. And I had to explain it to him that you can't get upset with me because of this, because I come with this experience. There is a reason why he also spends and wants to take risks, and because he's interested in enhancing his kind of lifestyle, and that's what he wants to do. He comes from a small town. He wants to, and that's his side of the story, and I need to understand it. How are we doing this? By talking. It's not rocket science. We talk. That's all we do. But if I myself am not aware of my money behaviors, of where they are coming from, of what kind of a money personality, like you were saying, I am, then how can I talk to my spouse?
But do you think, is there a difference between how a man or a woman manage expenses and manage money within a relationship?
So this is actually research which is universal, and it is found that women are far more conservative with money. And the research comes not from analyzing spending patterns or anything, but analyzing fund managers. So female fund managers versus male fund managers, and female fund managers in any study that has been conducted have always done better than male fund managers in terms of delivering long-term returns. Why does that happen? Because they are more conservative. Because men want to trade more, they want to keep shifting their asset allocation or whatever they are investing in. Fund managers I'm talking about. Whereas female fund managers are a lot more stable. They have a lot more long-term kind of view in place, and they don't trade as much, so the costs are under check.
Okay, now, but women becoming financially independent, husbands are no longer the only provider in the modern India image as well. Now, this brings more conflict, or this solves the problem as it is?
I don't think there is much data on this, but anecdotally, I'm kind of divided. I would say that there is a lot of conflict that's coming in because of it. Not because there is anything wrong with both partners earning or anything like that, but because now women have a choice. So if something is not working, it's very easy to walk away from that conflict. A few generations ago, women didn't have a choice to walk away from the conflict. So they stayed in that conflict and made their peace with it. Now, the choice is there, so so you're seeing that conflict come in front of us in the form of divorce. And divorce rates are up, that much we know.
A woman who's got separated from the husband and the adjustments that she had to deal with, if you can just cite an example.
There are countless stories of a lawyer I spoke to once who, again, double income family. Her money was going into the household expenses. His money was going into the investments. They got divorced when her son was 7 or 8 years old. This is a very old story I'm talking about. This many years ago. But, It's no different today for many households. Son was 7, 8 years old. They got divorced. She had no clue what their supposedly family savings and investments were. And she had no savings to her name because she had spent all her money in the household expenses, trusting her husband with it. I can tell you, every time I say this, there is somebody in the room who knows another person who has gone through this.
Right.
So, mostly in women's gatherings, okay? Because it is a reality for so many women. They think, okay, you know what, I'm earning, it's my responsibility, the house, let me spend here, there. Okay, your husband is saving, investing, at least ask where, what, is it in joint name? That's what I said, the part that is impacting the family needs to be transparent. Want to keep some aside for yourself? Sure, go ahead. But at least that part needs to be, and it isn't. And in divorce, more often than not, the woman suffers because of these kind of choices that they make, earning or not earning.
But do you think there are other factors that contribute to the conflict in a relationship because of money?
Okay, two factors. Biggest factor that I have known is lack of transparency, where the section of the family that manages money does not share with the other side, and also the lack of confidence to actually, from the side which doesn't have the information, to actually sit with the side that does.
Now, if you could rewrite the money rule book for modern couples, and there could be 3 rules which you wish the couples should follow for the financial harmony.
First, build your own money awareness, okay?
The most essential.
Most essential. Your own individual, you brought up the term money personality or whatever it is. Get on board with that. Don't be afraid to ask yourself the tough questions. Secondly, communicate. Oh my God, there is no substitute to this. Thirdly, transparency. Very, very important that you are transparent, because that builds trust also. And that says trust, not in the trust that your partner will do the right thing, but that both of you are capable of contributing to this part of your lives. Money is just one part of our lives, an important part, but we expect only one partner to contribute to it. Why? Both are capable. So to build that trust, all 3 are important: the awareness, the communication, and the transparency.
These are 3 essential things that you would tell a couple who comes to you where one partner is completely dependent on the other to just maintain and build the financial harmony between them.
First thing is that it's the responsibility of the person who's in charge of the finances, and the other one is dependent, you said. So responsibility of the person who's in charge to always inform the other one on their entire financial balance sheet, which will require you to have some form of written down like I said, balance sheet of assets and liabilities. You need to understand it yourself. What is the net worth? Net worth is basically your assets minus your liabilities. So what is the family's net worth? And this is something that needs to be communicated to the other spouse, along with individual assets and liabilities that are part of that balance sheet, okay? Along with account numbers, demat account numbers, every folio, everything should be written down somewhere. And of course, we spoke about this earlier, the password, if there are any accounts that need to be gotten into. So the folio numbers, account numbers, the assets, the liabilities, the value of each asset, each liability, each insurance, everything should be in some written down form. It could be an Excel sheet, it could be a notebook, whatever. It should be in some written down form, and it should be shared with the other spouse, updated every 6 months, maybe, whatever. This is essential. It's absolutely critical that you do this for the spouse who's dependent on you. There are couples where the main earning member doesn't even have life insurance because, and I'm saying his because a lot of times it's the man, because his belief is that life insurance agents are always out there to, try and trick you.
Yeah.
So he doesn't take it. But, now it's not the same thing. You don't have to buy insurance through an agent. You can buy a term life insurance policy online. If something were to happen to you, to the main earning member tomorrow, and, God forbid, it's an untimely death, what is your spouse going to do without the support, financial support of a good term life insurance policy?
Right.
So, unless this is written down and shown, if that spouse is not even aware कि ये सब होता क्या है, it's useless. That's why I said that, first find your own awareness to this. That spouse who is dependent needs to ask the right questions and try and assess why are there gaps. Slowly, both will start working together on it. But yeah, it's important, and every detail needs to be shared.
And what about the couple where both the partners are earning and they still need to maintain that and build that financial harmony?
In a lot of couples where both are earning, a lot of times they don't share how much they earn, and they don't have access to each other's bank account. Now, these are personal choices, so fair enough. But if you don't have access to your partner's bank account, then create a separate bank account which is joint, where your family finances merge in. So if you have access, then we go back to the first instance where I spoke to you, where you note down everything. If you're investing in individual names because you're both earning, then you have to have access to individual, not portfolios, but portfolio details. What is your spouse investing in, your spouse's balance sheet, your balance sheet, okay? If you're, you believe in complete transparency. If you don't know each other's earnings, etc., I'm not going to, sit here and judge why and all that, but then you create a joint account where your family's balance sheet, the funds for that gets pooled in. So whether it is paying off a housing loan, that loan thing gets put in, whether it's investments. Not everybody wants to invest in joint names. Believe it or not, not everybody does. Even if it's a well-functioning, harmonious, financially harmonious.
Do you have a joint account with your husband?
Yeah.
I don't have it with my wife though.
So all his accounts are joint with me. My primary account is not joint with him for no reason, but it's just not.
She's my nominee in everything.
Yeah.
I doubt if I'm nominee of hers in everything.
So why haven't you had this conversation? I think that will be my
I
question.
felt like, okay, we will have it someday. Maybe is this also one of the things that, people push it for no joy, push it for future.
So this is why I'm saying you need to take out one day every 3 months or 6. It has to be purposeful action. It cannot be left to kabhi karenge, Purposeful action, pencil it in on the calendar that this is the day, and go out and do it. Don't have to do it at home. Go out, do it over a glass of wine or a cup of coffee or whatever works for you. But do it. It's important. And everything. The way we function is that everything is joint, and our children are nominees for everything. Because everything is joint, I don't need to be a nominee, or he doesn't need to be a nominee in mine. But the children are half in absolutely everything.
And I guess this is where the temperament plays a huge role in how we respond to stress, the conflicts, and our financial decisions. Thank you so much, Lisa, for your time, your wisdom, your insights.
Most welcome, Dheeraj. It was a pleasure to be here.
Now, the key highlights from this session. Number 1, understand your financial behavior, your personal relationship with money, and then communicate it with your partner so the conflict can be resolved. Number 2, always maintain a financial transparency with your partner, be it your credit card bills, be it your loan amounts, because this will give trust to your partner and this will further strengthen the relationship. Number 3, always consult a qualified financial advisor because they will guide you as per your personal needs, your personal financial goals. Also, in the comment section, do let us know how do you manage finances within a relationship. And don't forget to subscribe to Personal Finance TV. This was Temperament Season 2.